Shane van Gisbergen was running second at Martinsville Speedway and somehow ended up 11th. What went wrong? The New Zealand driver had everything going his way at the Cookout 400. Career best qualifying on an oval. Stage points in both stages. An aggressive pit call that put him right behind the race leader. And then it all fell apart in the final stretch. After the race, van Gisbergen was angry. "That pisses me off running top 10 and missing it," he said. But what makes this so painful is how close he came to a real breakthrough result. Let's go back to the start of the weekend, because this was shaping up to be something special. Van Gisbergen qualified 5th at Martinsville in his number 97 Superfile Chevrolet. That's his best oval qualifying ever in the Cup Series. His previous best was 10th at New Hampshire last year. At this same track in 2025, he started way back in 22nd. 1 year later, he's starting 5th. That kind of improvement doesn't happen by accident. He was only 64 thousandths of a second off Denny Hamlin's pole time. And get this, in practice earlier that day, his car was 34th fastest. Dead last, basically. But he turned it around completely when it mattered. Part of the reason is a big change he made. Before qualifying, van Gisbergen explained that he switched from right foot braking to left foot braking on ovals. Every NASCAR driver uses the left foot on ovals, but at Martinsville, you also have to downshift, which made it tricky. He went all in, even put wide spacing between his pedals so he can't go back to his old way. "It's a lot of timing and repetition that I'm not used to," he admitted. Qualifying 5th, while still adjusting to this, is remarkable. His Trackhouse teammates were nowhere near him. Ross Chastain qualified 18th. Connor Zilisch was 25th. Van Gisbergen was clearly the fastest Trackhouse car by a long way. Hamlin took pole, Byron 2nd, Barry 3rd, Gibbs 4th. Then came the race, 400 laps around the famous half-mile paperclip. Stage 1 was clean and strong for van Gisbergen. He settled into 6th from the green flag. Hamlin took control at the front, briefly losing the lead to Byron when he got boxed behind a lapped car, but took it right back. The stage ended under caution on lap 78 when Cody Ware spun off John Hunter Nemechek's bumper. Hamlin won the stage. Van Gisbergen finished 6th and collected stage points. Stage 2 followed a similar pattern. Van Gisbergen said the car was pretty decent, but started losing grip off the corners. A caution on lap 105 for an Allmendinger spin on Gragson broke things up. Hamlin swept both stages. Van Gisbergen came home 8th, 8 bonus points across the 2 stages. And then stage 3 is where the disaster started. Van Gisbergen and his crew chief, Stephen Doran, made a bold call. They pitted early on lap 268, trying to gain track position by getting fresh tires before everyone else. Chase Elliott's team made a similar move, pitting on lap 261. When all the pit stops played out, Van Gisbergen had jumped all the way to 2nd, right behind Elliott, ahead of Denny Hamlin, who had led nearly the entire race. For a moment, it looked like a top 5 finish was real. But early pit stops come with a cost. Your tires wear out before everyone else's, and that's exactly what happened. Cars that pitted later came through with fresher rubber and started picking off Van Gisbergen one by one. He dropped back. Then things got chaotic. A debris caution on lap 312 froze the field. Elliott pitted under yellow from 2nd, basically a free pit stop that changed the race. The restart came on lap 324, but within a lap, Bubba Wallace drove into Carson Hocevar, spinning him. It turned into a 12-car pileup. Wallace wrecked his car and finished 36th, dropping from 3rd to 11th in the standings. Van Gisbergen avoided the crash and got 4 fresh tires. He lined up 9th for the next restart. This should have been his chance to grab a top 10 finish. But this is where it all went wrong. Restarts. That was his weak spot all day, and it showed up at the worst possible time. When the green flag dropped, he couldn't get going. Stuck on the outside line, he lost positions right away and fell back to 12th. He managed to pass Trackhouse teammate Chastain near the finish, but couldn't get anyone else. 11th, 1 spot short. On the team radio afterward, he told his crew, "Good job. Sorry I couldn't hold on to the top 10. He was straight about where he fell short. "I just wasn't good enough on the restarts," he said. "I'd lose 1 or 2 spots every time and then not be able to get them back. The speed was there to race with the guys who passed him, but the launch-off restarts kept costing him. Meanwhile, the battle at the front told its own story. Chastain led the restart on old tires. Hamlin was second, Elliott third. But Hamlin missed a shift, letting Elliott past. Elliott cleared Chastain for the lead and held off Hamlin to win by half a second. It was Chevrolet's first win of 2026 and Hendrick Motorsports' 31st Martinsville victory, the most by any team at any track in Cup history. It was definitely a team effort, Elliott said. Hamlin had a rough ending after a dominant day. He led 292 of 400 laps, won both stages, set the fastest lap, and still lost. His crew chief called it a gut punch. Post-race, they found a slightly loose left rear wheel. Hamlin actually scored more points than Elliott, 56 to 55, because sweeping both stages gave him the maximum 20 bonus points, while Elliott earned no stage points at all. And that brings us to what this race means for Van Gisbergen's championship fight. His 34-point day, 26 for 11th plus 8 stage points, moved him to 14th in the standings with 174 points. In 2026, the NASCAR playoffs take the top 16 drivers in points after 26 races. Van Gisbergen is 16 points above that cutoff. Every point he picks up on ovals keeps him safe for when road courses come around, and that's where he can really go on the attack. This was his 4th start at Martinsville. He finished 12th in his debut in 2024, 31st in spring 2025, 14th last fall, and now 11th. It's been a good progression. Tracks like this, he said. Every time I've come here, I've gotten better and better. We've got a good notebook now, and I think that is really helping. He also mentioned something interesting about starting near the front. People race much nicer up the front, he laughed. When I got 10th on back, it was pretty aggressive. The broader story around Trackhouse Racing makes Van Gisbergen's results even more impressive. Jordan Bianchi from the Teardown podcast said it plainly. They just don't have speed in their race cars right now. Chastain, who came in with 3 straight top 10s at Martinsville, could only manage 16th. Zilisch finished 26th. Van Gisbergen is the only Trackhouse driver pulling strong results. Jeff Gluck on the same podcast called Van Gisbergen pretty much the best of the non-Big 3 cars throughout the day. He said SVG was better than the 23 XI cars, better than the Spire cars, and called him super impressive. Bianchi added that other Cup drivers are in awe of his ability, and said, "He's doing it, man." He is getting better and better. He pointed out that Van Gisbergen's strategy should be simple. Collect points on ovals, then go all out on road courses. These are the days he needs, Bianchi said. Top 15s, top 20s, get a few stage points. Then when you go to the road courses, you max it out.